I gotta find an easier way to do this. I'm gonna catch my hind end on a nail on the way down, my luck. Oh, hey there. How y'all doing? I'm just dropping in to give you guys the part 2 of the ReelMen Outdoor 2020 season. Hope y'all like it. Man, alive, my leg hurts. So, we're gonna go ahead and roll this footage. Hopefully y'all enjoy. And I'm gonna go see the doctor. Oh, gee. Nope. All right, so got the. Why not? No, can't say it like that. Ooh, there we go. Oh, all right. What were we talking about? Ooh, that's right. The ReelMen Outdoor 2022 deer season, part 2. Double peace symbols. All right, now that we got all the goofing around out of our system, let's get into it. So my season started out a little rough. First 3 days I went out, I'm talking absolute pounding rain, and everybody knows what it's like to hunt in the rain 3 days in a row. I mean, when you got to take Walmart bags and put them over your socks before you slip them into your boots, it's going to be a long sit. You're going to be cold. Your hands, you won't be able to feel your fingers. It's going to be rough. But you know what? As bow hunters in the state of Iowa, sometimes that's what you have to do to be able to get in on some of these big deer. Now, when the rain stopped, the wind picked up. And I'm not talking like, I'm talking howling wind, the kind of wind as a bow hunter, you're just like, man alive, I hope a deer don't come in, because if he does, there's no way I know where my arrow's going. Not even a chance. So you just sit there and hopefully those hunts kind of turn into just scout trips. And we did see some good deer on those days. But luckily, we didn't have any of those big deer that we wanted to shoot come in close enough. Because honestly, I don't know what I would have done. I would like to think that I wasn't 100% sure that I wouldn't shoot, but sometimes that buck fever kicks in and kind of takes control of your body. But anyways, after all that wind went through, then it got hot, and I'm talking 60 degrees. Everybody that bow hunts in the state of Iowa knows that 60 degrees is not something that you're gonna be wanting to look down the barrel at coming into November, okay? November, you're looking for those crispy 25-degree mornings with the ice frosted over on those deer hoof holes, okay? That's the perfect morning. No wind, sun's just starting to come up, and you could hear a squirrel piss on a cotton ball. That's what we're at. So my original target buck this past season was a deer called Mr. M. And the reason why his name is Mr. M is because he's been kind of a mystery buck. Last year, or in 2021, I had pictures of this really wide 9-pointer. And I ended up shooting a different deer, and the next day, I mean, I hunted this 9-pointer for a long time, almost all season. And then I ended up saying, forget this. I went to a different place, ended up shooting a good mature deer. I mean, this deer was super old, huge body. Thing looked like a cow with a rack on it. Albino nose. I mean, he had some white stripes on his hooves, and he had a white nose. It was pretty cool. The taxidermy was like, man, I've only seen like one other of these deer. It was kind of neat, so I got that deer mounted. Not a super big rack, but just neat deer. So I figured I'd respect the animal and have him mounted just so I could look back at the story and remember everything about it. But this deer, I started getting pictures of him, and he was a mystery buck, just like that 9-pointer the previous year. Come to find out, same exact deer, almost the exact same pattern. So I'm like, all right, well and he definitely blew up a little bit. I mean, he's definitely a lot wider than he was last year. He's super palmated, not real tall tines, but really wide, really heavy on the main beams. Sweet deer. Finally, I mean, every picture was really blurry. So he's a mystery buck, and that's how the name come about, Mr. M. And I hunted that deer hard all year. As the season progressed, I was hunting this deer hard. I'm talking, I would just go and post up on a hill somewhere with a spot and scope and binoculars, and I would sit there for hours and just watch and see. And this deer, honestly, this past season didn't really have a pattern. I ended up finding his core area, which was really cool. And from that point on, really started getting it narrowed down. So everything led up to this particular place of where I thought that I could get a shot at this deer. I waited for the weather to get absolutely perfect, decided tonight's the night, and I'm gonna go try to stick an arrow in this joker. Get everything laid out, get out there early the next afternoon, get posted up in this tree, everything's great, sitting there, nothing. And I'm talking, this is an area that normally the first 15 minutes that you get sat down in this stand, you're seeing little yearlings start popping out. And I'm talking early. Normally, the stands, it's nice to get into because once you get in the stand, you can get in there really quiet. It gets to that power hour in the afternoon that anything could happen, and I still haven't seen one deer. This particular place was extremely odd. Did not feel right about the situation. I stood up, started glassing around. I'm like, there's no reason why I shouldn't have seen a deer yet. So I did a cardinal sin for just about all bow hunters. I crawled down during the power hour in the afternoon to go try to find out where these deer were at. I crawled down out of the stand, started walking, get 30 yards away from my deer stand, looked down, and I found Mr. M dead. And he was completely ate up by coyotes. I have no idea what happened to him, but it was definitely a sad moment after spending that much time trying to hunt a deer. And that being the one buck that you really wanted. He was honestly the only buck that I wanted to hunt this year. I mean, I saw some other good deer, mature bucks, but they just weren't that deer, you know? The amount of time that I spent going after this deer, it was just super sad. And I didn't hunt for like 4 days afterwards because I didn't know what I was gonna do, where I was gonna go, what I was gonna chase. I mean, I'm in November now, and the deer that I was after is dead. What do you do as a bow hunter? After seeing Mr. M, I'm like, you know what? I need a new set of rattling horns. I'm just gonna shoot a good mature deer just to get a set of rattling horns. That was my main goal at this particular time in the season, just going after a rattle horn buck. So I'm sitting there in this tree, and this good 8-pointer comes out. I'm like, you know what? That 8-pointer make a really good set of rattling horns. I grab my bow and I get ready. And I start to hear something. I'm like, man, what? There's a lot of commotion going on. And I start looking around and I finally catch movement and I look, and these two smaller bucks, I'm talking, they're going at it like hard. There's dirt flying up everywhere. There's deer running around like crazy. And these little 115-inch deer are going at it like 200-inch giants, you know? I mean, they're just clashing like titans. And I'm like just in awe, struck just watching this go down, because it's not so many times you get to watch deer fight like that. Yeah, so I grab my binoculars and I'm looking. And this joker comes out and he's huge. I'm like, what in tarnation? And he chases those two smaller bucks clear out of the county. Then he turns around and he goes straight back to the doe that he's with. I got this one deer that I'm planning on shooting at about 40 yards. I'm like, I'm not gonna grunt, I'm not gonna do nothing because I don't want to scare him off, and then I'm just back to square one, chasing random deer around. I'm here, got the bow set up. This deer's about 30 yards now, and I hear something to my left. And I turn and look, and here he comes walking down through the woods. And he's about 40 yards and closing quick. And this deer, he's one of them deer, as soon as you lay eyes on him, he is a shooter buck. He's not one of them deer that's just an absolute giant, but he's not a deer that you let walk, at least for me. There's a lot of bow hunters out there that have a lot higher standards than me. I'm telling you, buck fever set in when I laid eyes on that deer's rack. Real wide, really heavy, super cool hunt. This is how it went down. So after I made the shot, this deer took off. He went to about 30 yards and he just stood there. And that deer stood there for probably about a solid hour. And I'm telling you, he's at 15 yards when I took the shot. And it was an absolute perfect shot. This deer was a big, mature, dominant buck at that time in this area. And it's crazy to me how tough these deer actually are. That deer took it like an absolute brute. He stood there forever. Then he bedded down. He'd try to get back up. He'd get up and he'd walk a little bit and he'd bed back down. And I didn't get all this film because by myself, and I mean, I was on the phone with some people talking to him, and this deer, you know, you're on the phone whispering, like, man, I just shot a giant. Super excited about it. And this deer ends up going, and it's just about dark, and he goes up and he walks down. He's trying to get to the creek, and then he beds down again. So I decide I'm just gonna crawl down, I'm gonna give him some time, and then I'm gonna come back. I did not get any of that walk up on footage or the drag out on footage because I was by myself. It was late at night. I had a birthday party to get to. So I just hurried up and got the job done and got him to the truck. And by yourself, dragging a deer like that out is an absolute chore. I would not recommend it for anybody else unless you're a dummy. Then by all means, have at it. But I'm super happy with that deer, super psyched about him. I'll try to get his skull up on the next video so you guys can see that deer. This is not him. He's a really big, mature 8-pointer. He's 5.5 inches around in the middle of his main beams. He's got 6.5-inch bases, really heavy, gnarly 8-point buck. Not real tall tines. He doesn't come clear out and around, but really big main beams, wide deer, super heavy, just exactly what I wanted to put my 2022 bow tag on. Well, now it's January. Now this 9-pointer, I am hot on this Joker's trail. Just about got this deer's number, but he kept giving me the slip a couple times. Late muzzleloader season, absolutely love late muzzleloader. It's a great time. So this deer on this particular chunk of property that I have permission to hunt, it's wide open bean stubble fields that they had just put a lot of tile in. And they had those 2-foot tall mounds of dirt that stretched the whole length of the field. That is the only chance that I have to get barrel down on this deer, because he's an old deer, he's a wise deer, he's a very mature deer. He knows when something's up. And another issue is an absolutely ungodly amount of does and small bucks that would feed into this bean stubble. They'd come in quick, feed through it pretty quick, and then go out into some corn stalks, and then it'd be dark by that time. Almost like clockwork every night. But you never knew exactly where they're gonna enter the bean field at. So that was kind of a crapshoot just because you just didn't know. Early afternoon, about 3 o'clock, they would come across the road and feed up in these beans, and then they just worked their way across it. That's how the deer use this part of the farm. Next opportunity that I had to get out was the last day of muzzleloader season. So kind of the same game plan, but a different part of the field. I found this washout next to the standpipe. I'm like, I'm gonna lay down in that washout, and hopefully that deer comes within range as he's feeding by. I'm laying in this washout and I'm not seeing any deer, which again was odd for this particular place. I'm like, well, and this field's kind of hilly. So it's, unless you get up on the top, it's really flat and you can see a really long ways. But on the edges of this field, it's kind of hilly, not super bad, but hilly enough to where they could be 200 yards and you wouldn't have a clue that they were there with the terraces and everything else. I'm laying in the washout, not seeing any deer. I'm like, you know what? I've got an hour and a half left of daylight on the last day of late muzzleloader season. I'm going to give it 10 minutes. If I don't see a deer in 10 minutes, I'm going to get up and I'm going to start easing across this field to see what's on the other side of that knoll. 10 minutes come, I get up, I start walking, get up to the top of this knoll. Sure enough, there's about 30 does standing down there. I've got an hour left of the season. I'm like, you know what? Might as well put some meat in the freezer. I'm going to try to get back to the truck, drive around, because it's a long ways. I'm going to drive around, hop out, run around the bends, try to get up in the field on the other side of them, and I'm just going to try to take a doe, put some meat in the freezer, and that's going to end out my 2022 season. So I get back to the truck, hop in it, drive around, get to the bins, run through the bin sites, get up, and I'm about 300 yards away from the does. I've got a pine row that's really easy to walk behind, kind of incognito mode. I get to the end of that, crawl up to this terrace. These does are about 150 yards out. Don't have a clue that I'm there. Get the gun set up, get up on the backpack, get laid down in the prone position, cock the gun, getting ready to squeeze a round off on this big mature doe, and I see tines come into the scope. Yeah, you can imagine which deer it was. I about ruined the last day by taking a doe. I see the tines, and I'm looking, and this 9-pointer, he has got a brow tine that sticks up about 3 inches taller than his G2s. His brow, I'm telling you, this brow tine, this deer is an absolute freak of a 9-pointer. I call him F9 just because the deer, he's crazy. And he's moving pretty quick. And then he just disappeared. The tines go down over that terrace. I have no idea where this deer is at. Well, now I have about 30 minutes of light left. Do I still shoot a doe? Or do I try to make something happen on the F9 buck? So I get up and I start just walking. It's kind of damp. It's easy to be really quiet in that bean stubble. It's damp, and I was just trying to truck along, get up to this next terrace. Hopefully he would be there, and hopefully I could get a shot. So I start hoofing it up there. The does are there. I spook the does, but right now I really don't care because I'm just trying to make something happen. Get up to that terrace, looking around. He's nowhere to be seen. Finally get a bead on him. He's about 400 yards out, walking away from me, and he's just going to different groups of does, checking to see if any of them's in heat. So I'm going through the field as fast as I can, as quiet as I can, getting too tired. I start shedding while I'm still trying to hustle, shedding my backpack, taking binoculars off, and I'm just dropping it in a trail. And I ended up losing my rangefinder on my way back to pick all this stuff. It was a whole blown out deal. But I get close enough to this deer. Let's check that hunt out. There he is. Right there. That's a clean mess. Good God. Man, it's a big deer. I clean missed him. Clean miss. Well,
That right there. It's a bad way to end the 2022 season. Next year, dear. Next year. Man, I'll tell you what. That deer's a freak. It's too late now. January the 10th, 2023. I don't even have a name for that deer. He's a freak though. He's got points everywhere and he's got a brow tine that's just it's taller than each G2. That deer's. What do you do? I go home, tell my wife about it, cry a little, go to sleep, get up and go to work tomorrow. Tell my buddies and they're gonna tease me about it. But you know what? I shot a good buck with my bow this year. I didn't get whooped. That's all that matters. Next year. I'll get him next year. Dang it.
So after I missed that deer, obviously, whole mix of emotion, being the last day of the season, it was just kind of a letdown. I mean, I'm not upset because I had a really good bow season, got to see a lot of mature deer, a lot of deer action, got to take some guys out, got to see a lot of success this year. It was a great. So I was thinking that my deer season was completely over. Kind of sad about it. Didn't quite want the fun to end. Long story short, a buddy of mine, Brent Clark, calls me up and he owns Iowa Whitetail Outfitters. And he calls me and says, you know what? I need some help doing some doe management. Can you come out and you're gonna be able to have some meat for your freezer? Plus you're gonna be helping me clean up some of these does. The last night that we went, I took my son Colton with me. Turns out that was a really funny hunt. Just the way it all played out. Got to see some good deer. Colton got to see some deer. It was the first time I'd ever took him to the woods. It was a really good experience for him. Thank you, Brent Clark, for letting me go out on your farm and do some doe management. Had a blast. I know Colton had a blast. And if you guys are looking for a high quality hunt in the state of Iowa that you will have a chance at shooting a giant Iowa deer, give Brent Clark a call at Iowa Whitetail Outfitters. You guys will not be let down at all. He's got some big deer running around out there. Lots of fun, super great family, and you guys would love it.
This way, buddy. Colton. Colton. Son. Colton. This way. Look at the deers. What are we doing out here tonight? What are we doing?
Shooting a deer.
We're gonna try to get one. Look, son, there's more. There's more coming out. See him over there? There's more out there. You see him? Colton. Colton. Wake up, buddy. Wake up, son. Hey, I'm getting ready to shoot a deer. Hey, I'm getting ready to shoot cycle, I could have shot that other doe standing behind her. Good night. Colton. Colton. Son. Colton. Wake up, buddy. I shot one. I shot a doe. You slept right through it. Get up, son. Get up. Come on. Get knucklehead. Are you sleepy? You're a goofball, you know that? Good deal. Get up, boy. You have to help me drag this thing. Can I get a high five? That's what I'm talking about. You ready to go, buddy? You ready to go? Yeah, I'll turn around. Turn around. Turn around. There we go. All right, come on. All right, be really careful. Don't fall, okay? Stand right here. Hold on to that rail. Good job. All right, come here. Watch out. Now turn around. Turn around. Just like a ladder, okay? Standing there. Hold on to it. Here. I'll just hold you. How's that? Easy enough. All right, where's the deer at? Where's the deer? I think it's this way. Let's go this way.
Congratulations, you've made it to the end of the video. Don't get your hopes up. There's no prizes or anything like that. If you liked it, please hit that subscribe button, considering that the subscribers that I do have are probably just family members that honestly just feel sorry for me. And if you didn't like it, well, I'll get over it. Trust me, it's gonna hurt my feelings a lot more watching that fish break my line or that monster buck run off in the sunset like you guys have already watched in the last video. But anyways, hit that like, subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. If you guys want any tips or tricks as far as scouting and calling, maybe I'll be able to help you out with that. No promises. And then camping videos coming up with the family. It's gonna be a great time. And then obviously summer fishing. Gonna have a lot of fun there with the buddies, the family. Hopefully nobody gets hooked. Gonna be a lot of good footage. Hope you guys stick around. In the meantime, I'll see you on the woods.